Good morning, kids. It's Miss Chrissy here. And if you remember from a few weeks ago when it's been a couple months ago now, when I did Sabbath school and talked about my balloons, they're still up. So anyway, I've still got some of my balloons from my celebration from graduation. Today, our story is about the boy that's alive, and the message is God will always give the best answer to our prayers. And our story comes from 1 Kings chapter 17. Do you guys remember if 1 Kings is in the New Testament or the Old Testament? 1 Kings is in the Old Testament. So, that's the stories before Jesus was on the earth. Now, first of all, the first thing I want you to do is get a Band-Aid from your mom or dad. I want you to take that Band-Aid out. I'm going to give you just a minute. And I'm going to let you know that the memory verse, and we'll do it again after I do the story, but the memory verse is the Lord cares for those who trust in Him. Nahum 1:7. And Nahum is also in the Old Testament. So, you should have your Band-Aid by now, and I want you to take your Band-Aid out of the wrapper, and I want you to put it on by yourself. I don't want anybody to help you. I want you to pretend you have a boo-boo on your finger, and Miss Chrissy looks like a boo-boo. Anyway, I want you to take that Band-Aid out, and I want you to put it on yourself. Miss Chrissy has an advantage because she could probably do this by herself with one hand. Yep. There we go. There's the Band-Aid. Got it on. Who's got theirs on? Let me see. All right. If you weren't able to get it on, that's because you usually need help when you're sick. And that's what our story is about today, help when you're sick. Did some of you need help getting your Band-Aids on straight? Because see, Miss Chrissy got hers on straight. See? Did pretty good. And was it easy or hard to do? If it was easy, then you have too many boo-boos. But if it was hard, then I expect that it was hard. But who usually helps us with our Band-Aids? Our moms and dads do, don't they? Or somebody in our house that loves us. Well, God gave us our parents to take care of us and to help us when we need it. Jesus will take care of us too because He loves us more than anyone. And our Bible story today is about Elijah and a sick boy whose mother couldn't help him. God told Elijah how to help him, and God took care of her son. That makes me think of the message. Remember, God will always give the best answer to our prayers. Now say that with me. I'm going to say it again. God will always give the best answer to our prayers. All right. Now, there was a really cool blindfold activity, but we can't do that because I can't blindfold you. But if you want to blindfold and do the blindfold activity, and you have a brother or sister or your mom and dad will help, then somebody gets blindfolded, and then the other person leads them around the room, and I want you to see how easy that was. And then switch and let another person get blindfolded and let the first person lead them around the room. That's a good activity for later if you have time. Now, the boy is alive is our lesson. And I'm going to read it. We're supposed to have Bible characters, but I'm just going to read the story to you without the Bible characters doing their different roles. If we were in Sabbath school, then I would have grabbed some Bible characters to help us. So Elijah stayed in Zarephath where God had sent him. God had not sent rain for a long, long time because the people still worshiped the idol Baal. Without rain, the crops did not grow, and people everywhere were very hungry. But there were always food in the widow's house, just as the Lord had promised. Every day when the widow looked into her jar, she found enough flour to make bread, and every day when she looked into her jug, she found enough oil too. Every day God kept His promise, and God always keeps His promises. One morning, the widow's son may have whispered to his mother, "I don't feel good, Mother. I hurt all over." The mother probably held her son and rocked him. She gave him cool water to drink, and she sang soft songs to him. But her son didn't get well. He got worse, and then he died. The widow cried, and tears ran down her face as she told Elijah what had happened. "Give me your son," he said, and he carried the boy upstairs to the room the widow had given Elijah. He laid the boy on the bed, and then Elijah cried to the Lord, "Why has this happened to the kind woman who is sharing her home with me? O Lord my God, let this boy's life return to him." 3 times, Elijah prayed this prayer, and the Lord did not answer Elijah with words. He did not answer Elijah's question about why the widow's son had died. But after the third prayer, 1, 2, 3, the boy began to breathe again. He came back to life. Elijah shouted with joy. He picked up the boy and rushed down the stairs. "Your son is alive," he shouted. "Your son is alive." The widow grabbed her boy in a big hug. She was so happy she laughed and cried at the same time. Then she looked up at Elijah through her tears. "Now I know you are a man of God," she said. "God truly speaks through you." God speaks to us through other people too, and sometimes He gives the answers to our prayers through others. God cares for us. He will always give the best answer to our prayers. So, what did Elijah say to God when he prayed over the boy? He asked why, didn't he? And God didn't answer Elijah's prayer right away. He didn't answer the first prayer. Elijah prayed 3 times before the boy came back to life. Does God always answer our prayers right away? When he gave the boy to his mother, how do you think Elijah felt? How do you think the woman felt about Elijah? Can you imagine being the mom of someone whose boy was raised to life by Elijah, through Elijah by God? God always hears and gives the best answer to our prayers, and He answers our prayers according to His will and what is the best for us. Sometimes it's not the answer we expect, yet no matter how God answers our prayers, we can always know that He loves and cares for us. So Nahum 1:7 is where we find our memory verse. And it is, "The Lord," point up to the Lord, "cares for those who trust in Him." Nahum 1:7. So remember, we're doing our Bibles. The Lord cares for those who trust in Him. Nahum 1:7. And we'll do it one more time. The Lord cares for those who trust in Him. Nahum 1:7. All right. So work on your memory verse this week. So maybe you can say it for Miss Courtney next week. Now, I want you to think about a time that you were really sick. Maybe you had a fever, maybe you had the flu, or maybe it was just a cold, but you just felt terrible all over. Maybe you had a snuffy nose. How did it feel when you were sick? Did it feel yucky? Did you want your mom around or your dad around? Who takes care of you when you're sick? Is that your mom or your dad or both of them? And being sick is not fun, but it's wonderful when moms and dads can take care of us. Someone else is taking care of us too. Who do you think it is? It's Jesus. We can trust Jesus to hear our prayer when we ask Him for help. So remember, God will always give the best answer to our prayers. I want you to say that with me again. God will always give the best answer to our prayers. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to think of someone who doesn't feel well, someone that's sick, or maybe ask your mom and dad to help you find someone that's sick. Or maybe if somebody in your neighborhood is sick, and I want you to take a piece of paper and make them a card. Have you ever gotten a card when you were sick? A card to make you feel better? Lots of times grandmas and grandpas send cards when we're sick. How do you think the person we are sending the cards to will feel about getting the cards? I bet they're going to be very excited. And moms and dads, I don't know if you know, but Stephen Gray from the church passed away this week, and I bet Betty Gray would love a card from one of the kids. Do you think that they'll know that we care about them? Do you think that they'll know that God is watching over them? Does God answer the prayer of sick people or sad people? He absolutely does. God always will give the best answer to our prayers. So I want you to take those cards and make some beautiful cards. Draw your best picture and write words on the inside that just say, we are thinking about you, or we love you, or we care about you, and God loves you. So take the get well cards and make them for the people in your area, in your neighborhood, or people that you know. Maybe it's somebody in your family. And get those get well cards out there, or the we're sorry you're sad cards. That's a good one too. Even though we're supposed to do get well cards this week, we're sorry you're sad is a good card too. So, what are some things that God does, that God gives us, or Jesus gives us to keep us healthy? What are some things? Well, He gives us water. He gives us peaches and tomatoes and apples and all kinds of yummy vegetables and fruits this time of year. And He gives us fresh air. And He lets us exercise and take time outside and enjoy the beautiful things that He's given us. We even get to go on hikes or spend some time with Him, spend some time with our families. There's lots of things that Jesus gives us to help keep us healthy. Now, real quick, we're going to read our story from the Bible. Sometime later, the son of the woman who owned the house became ill, and he grew worse and worse and finally stopped breathing. And she said to Elijah, "What do you have against me, man of God? Did you come to remind me of my sin and kill my son?" "Give me your son," Elijah replied. And he took him from her arms and carried him into the upper room where he was staying and laid him on his bed. And then he cried out to the Lord, "O Lord my God, have you brought tragedy upon this widow I am staying with by causing her son to die?" And then he stretched himself out on the boy 3 times and cried to the Lord, "O Lord my God, let this boy's life return to him." How many times did he pray? 3 times he cried out to the Lord. The Lord heard Elijah's cry, and the boy's life returned to him, and he lived. Elijah picked up the child and carried him down to the room into the house, and he gave him to his mother and said, "Look, your son is alive." And then the woman said to Elijah, "Now I know that you are a man of God, and that the word of the Lord from your mouth is the truth." So that's what we want to be, is children and teachers for God. And we want to make sure that we tell truths and that what we say out of our mouths is truthful. So remember, God always gives the best answer to our prayers. And our memory verse, one more time, is, Miss Chrissy forgot it already. There it is. The Lord cares for those who trust in Him. All right, guys, have a good week and a happy Sabbath, and try to get outside. If you can't today, then tomorrow. I think it's supposed to rain today and be yucky, but I think tomorrow is supposed to be beautiful. So get outside and have some exercise and fresh air, and God bless you. We'll see you soon.